Details on terrorist leader planned attack on Sydney Mardi Gras. Yesterday, Hamdi Alqudsi appeared before the Supreme Court of New South Wales in Australia on charges of directing an international terrorist organization with plans to carry out an attack. He allegedly formed a group called the Shura, which means Consultation Council in Arabic, to travel to Syria and fight against the government there. When police stopped the plans, he decided to turn to events in his home of Australia. The group allegedly planned to attack several different locations, including the Woolloomooloo naval base, the Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras, the Sydney Israeli Embassy, and other tourist locations in the city. The trial is ongoing, and Alqudsi has pled not guilty. They're coming from all sides. It just feels, I feel like we're under attack from all sides.
We are.
And it's, I know that it's a shared feeling, but when is it going to end? That's what I keep hoping for this just to all, I don't know, they realize they've made a mistake somehow.
I'm going to pull out my whole pessimist side. I'm not even going to be optimistic. It is never going to stop. And that is because you can say it stopped. Like people say, oh, racism is over. It's not over. It is never going to be 100% over. We evolve as people, and so do society and things like that. So it makes it seem as if it's not there anymore. It's still there. It is still blatant, and it is overt, but it is also covert at the same time. So regardless, we're always going to have this happening. It's going to be, oh, we have so many things that are better now, but you're still going to have the haters and the crazy people who are out here that are planning terrorist attacks against just people having a good time.
You know, a perfect example to that point, all we have to do is look in our own backyards in the big categories of marginalized community. If you are Latino, when I came down to do It's Happening Out in September, it'll be 4 years ago that I came down to do that show. When I lived in Sarasota on the West Coast, the Latino embracement in the West Coast communities compared to South Florida, there's no comparison. The Latino community could not have the presence like they do here in South Florida in many of the Central West Coast communities. 3 hours away, and it's a completely different world for Latinos. Here in South Florida, I would assume that we would say above average in terms of our embracement of Black community. And you can go 4 hours away north to Ocala, and it would be a completely different experience in terms of how the Black community is accepted in Ocala, Marion County, as opposed to Fort Lauderdale, Broward County. Then in LGBT, we're living and working and playing in one of the most LGBT-friendly communities in the entire world, not just the United States, the entire world. But if you move up this same coast to Jacksonville, Duval County, it is like a completely different place. They make the joke that Jacksonville, Duval County is southern Georgia for a reason. So to your point, even in those principal marginalized communities, gay, Latino, Black, even in our own state, depending on where you live, it can be completely different of how you're accepted and treated. And that's the problem.
We're in a bubble. South Florida is in a bubble.
Yeah, for sure.
But I have to, I think, Saborni, you're correct. People that are always looking for a villain and looking for a reason to blame for whether their life isn't going a certain way or something has happened to them. They're looking for someone that, oh, that gay person took my job, or that Black person took my, did this. And we're always looking for someone to make a villain. And, we have to realize that energy is always going to be there. And, sharing our stories, which we do here, is really important, because when people start knowing who you are and what you're about, you're not a category, you're Saborni. And it's very different.
But that worked with the whole way the monkeypox issue is being dealt with, and the meningitis. They're making this into like a gay disease. It feels like the 80s. It feels like there's it's wrong. It's completely wrong, and yet they found another scapegoat. And why not? Kick us, we're already down. Just kick us more.
That's the creation of culture war. One of the things I was concerned when in following this is first, it's important news. We have a slide about it. This charging is the first case in the world to be charged with intentionally directing a terrorist organization which was preparing to carry out an attack on an LGBTQ target. And this has never happened before. And that's one of the reasons why we paid attention to it. I was concerned as I learned of the news, and then I followed the start of the prosecution, that this would be viewed as anti-Muslim or anti-Islamic. It is not. It is an aberration of ignorance in that community, not the entire community.
Not all
It's
Muslims
very
are
important.
terrorists.
Right,
Not all
exactly.
gay people are pedophiles.
Exactly.
And we'll get into that shortly.
Yeah, that's
but
right. And I think that is important in this story.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.